Welcome back to Max Trades Crypto. Today we're going to be going over a few scenarios starting on the daily time frame and working our way to the hourly time frame, right? It's going to be a bit of a longer video just so that I get every scenario that you guys can be aware of. So, starting on our daily scenario number 1, we have our 5-wave structure up and 3-wave structure down, possibly soon to finish. Right? So if I do some education for you guys, normally we have 2 ways we can move up. We have a standard impulse, right? Or we have a diagonal, right? One difference is that wave 1 and wave 4 overlap, right? That is the main story when it comes to our move up. So as we can see here, we have our standard move up, 5 waves in 1, 3 waves in 2, 5 waves, 3 waves, 5 waves, and that is how it works. Now, we have a scenario where we could indeed have a flat structure on the daily time frame. What is a flat structure? This is an expanded flat. An expanded flat is where we move down in wave A, take the high of wave A in wave B, and then take the low in wave C. So you can see here an A B, and a wave C. That is what we could be looking at here on the chart. We have an A, B, C over here. You can see possible 3-wave move in wave A, 5-wave move in wave B, or sorry, 3-wave move in wave A, 3-wave move in wave B, and 5-wave move in wave C. Right? Where we would finish this is about the 1 to the 1.618 of the wave A. So we can measure this out, wave A, all the way to the top. And we can say we're going to measure it from the wave 1 to the 1.618. And that is where we could be finishing our targets here. Our targets sit at 91,700 to 69,950. And followed by this, we would see a 5-wave structure to the upside, right? Then that would be taking out the 200 or 300, $150,000 regions, right? But until then, we must keep tracking this because this could be our second scenario. This could not be our ABC, but instead we have our 5-wave structure up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a wave 5 finishing in a form of ending diagonal. And then followed by this, we would get a 3-wave structure to the downside, which we are seeing quite a sharp wave A, a 3-wave structure in wave B, and followed by that, a 5-wave structure in wave C, right? That could be our main scenario. So if this one does indeed fail, if we start getting a lot lower moves and then a retracement, but instead of a 5-wave structure up, we see a 3-wave structure and then retracement. That is then an indication that we are in a corrective structure here and we are possibly heading lower, right? So that is how you can see which one is going to play out. This is obviously in 5 waves up, and this is going to be in 3 waves up, right? Our daily scenario 2 in 3 waves up after this move is done. Right, so that is the main scenario that I believe on the time frame, on the daily time frame at the moment, where we could see a standard 5-wave, 3-wave, and another 5-wave. This could indeed merge into other things. We could see a some form of A, B, C, and then that's just the W, right, followed by an X, and then a Y, and then finishing our move, and then only going higher. These could be lots of different things, but the standard one that we look at the moment is the ABC. So this is our main one on the daily time frame, right? This, unfortunately, would mean a lot lower prices, $30,000, $40,000 region, right? And we can measure that out on the daily time frame, just looking at standard fib levels for a sub-degree wave. There's the 0.382, there's the 0.618, sitting between 56,450 and 34,400, or around $34,500, right? So we can actually draw our nice little box there and put it in our daily scenario 2, right? That is our main one at the moment. Then if we move to the 4-hourly time frame, right, discussing what is actually going on in this move down, right? That is what our 4-hourly time frame currently looks like. And we can see here on our main scenario, we have a 5-wave structure down. Now either we have a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5, that is the possibility, right? Or I've just labeled here an extended wave 5. This could be moved around. This isn't actually the main one. We can look at something along the lines of this, right? If I move these around now just to show you, we can look at a 1 2 and then followed by a 3, maybe a 4 over here, and a wave 5 down, finishing the 3. It doesn't change any of our fibs. It doesn't change the count. This is our main move or main scenario to the downside, where we have a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5, and we are now currently in the larger degree wave 4, so relating to this wave 2. Right, the 0.618 is our invalidation. This move is invalidated at $101,215, right? But I do warn you here, this move down, or this move that is this range that we are creating here, looks very much similar to what Bitcoin has done multiple times in the past, where it does 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then we end up blasting off and then ranging again, and then we go lower followed by higher. This is the standard Elliott wave form, right? We have a range, a breakout, and another range. Our 4 5s sit at the top, our 1 2s sit at the bottom, and our 3 sits in the middle, right? So it does look very, very similar to something of a breakout occurring, maybe a Christmas breakout, something like that, whatever you guys want to call it. But on Elliott waves, we do still need to look at, we have a 5-wave structure that is incomplete, right? We have an incomplete 5-wave structure, a 1 2, and then if we were to count everything as a 3, what? So 3, 4, the problem is 1 and 4 are overlapping, so we can't have that. We need a 1 2 1 2, and then a 3 to the downside, 4, and we are currently missing this wave 5 over here, right? But it is very common for this structure to play out, so I do warn you, right? So if we then look at our second 4-hourly scenario, right, we have another type of 5-wave structure, just where our 3s and our 4s are not yet complete. We have here a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5. That means we would have a few more legs to the downside, right? Unlike this scenario here, where we have just one more leg, we have a few more legs to the downside here. The invalidation sits at the bottom of wave 1 for the sub-degree. So we have here the bottom of wave 1 sitting at around $98,900, which we're not too far away from. I know it is $6,000, but it is not much percent, and we are not too far away from the invalidation of this specific double 1 2. But that, if we cross 98,000, we would also be very close to our invalidation line at the 0.618 at 101,000. So if 98,000 is indeed touched, I would say we are looking at some other structure here, and we then need to re-evaluate our chart, right? We need to re-look at what we are actually looking at on Bitcoin on the 4-hourly time frame, right? Then it would end up being some form of 3-wave structure here. Okay, then let's move to our hourly scenario, right? And I'm just going to go through, I mean, we have 4 of them. I'm going to go through, I think, the main 2. So we have a few. I'm going to go through scenario 1 and 4 that is labeled on my chart. So scenario 1 is that double 1 2 that I spoke about. Remember, we could have something along the lines of a 1 2 1 2. So this breakout, right? And then followed by this, we have that range again there in the 4 5. So I would indeed look out for something like this. At the moment, we are again got a little breakout last night, but we are then ranging again. Let's go down to the hourly time frame. We can see here we are now ranging again, right? So we have had multiple times where it looks like 5-wave structures, 5-wave structure here. This is incredibly ugly, right? This is what I don't like about this scenario. So 5-wave fine, 5-wave fine. This over here is a massive problem. And then we took out the low in wave 2. Right? So there's a few issues that sit with me here. The one issue is that this looks like a 3-wave structure in wave 1, not a 5-wave structure. Yes, we could get some form of diagonal, but it is unlikely, right? That is the one part that irritates me here. The other part is this high here came very, very close, touching the 0.886, which means that we are likely to take this high at some point, $94,450. Whether we do it now or later is the question, but we do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this structure. Not pretty though. Very, very sharp. 2, 4, and a 5. Very, very small. And then we have the breakout. So this, to me, does start looking quite corrective. Right, quite a corrective structure. So we do have to then look at our second scenario. So our second scenario is then our other corrective structure where we have a WXY, right? Then in this we have a B, and a wave C, perfectly following 5, 3, 5. Followed by that, we have a 3-wave in W, 3-wave in X. That would explain this ugly 3-wave structure. And then we are looking at a 3-wave in Y, right? It explains it a lot better. Range in 2 over here, very small range, but then range in 4 that is longer. So WXY to the downside. And then we have the A, possible A finishing like this, or if this is a 4, 5, right? Followed by a B, followed by a wave C, finishing that Y, possibly finishing that wave 4, and then we head lower, right? Lower over the new year, lower over the new quarter, right? That is what I see as our main scenario at the moment, this WXY. And just to give you some education on it as well, a WXY, right? This is a W, an X, and a Y. All of them are made up of 3-wave structures, right? It is called a complex correction, an ABC, an ABC, ABC. Now, whether these are flats or expanded flats or running flats, all depends, or triangles. Y can be a triangle, this can be a flat, then that would also be a flat. We have multiple different systems. In this one, we have here, it is just that we have 3-wave structures, right? 3 waves here in W, 3 waves here in Y. We would have here an X and a Y connected by this X, right? That is what this standard WXY form is. But that is what we're currently looking at. These are making converging trend lines on the 1 hourly time frame. We have something along the lines of that and something along the lines of this if we look. So this thing is going to break out soon, and this is possibly one of those fake breakouts followed by down, or it is that massive breakout instead, right, in the wave 3, 4, 5, and we go higher. So do look when this is happening. Be very, very careful, because this is still relatively corrective for now. But amazing, that is our 1 hour scenarios covered. So we've covered all of our different scenarios from the daily to the 4 hourly to the 1 hour scenario. For trade possibilities starting on the 4 hourly time frame, right? Our 4 hourly time frame, our main scenario sits with this one over here, where we have the 4 to the downside, right? We have a wave 4 and we are looking for a move to the downside. The thing is, at the moment, we are also possibly looking at a multi 1-2 on the hourly, right? Which doesn't do this justice, right? So there are two scenarios that you can take out, right? Number one is that this move up would hit our invalidation zone at $101,000 at the 0.618. That is then our invalidation zone. So if you are looking to open up any shorts in this region here, our invalidation zone would be $101,215. Once that is hit, something else is occurring. That would indeed be your stop loss. So one of the scenarios I say is take a short in this region here, right? Take a short. If I was wanting to say which one, we would look at our hourly scenario where we have the wave Y up, right? Taking a short would be a good move in this region with a stop loss at $101,215. The other one, if you don't want such a risky trade, is taking a long in any area below this low here, right? And this would, in my opinion, be just spot trades that would confirm we are likely in a bear market in a wave 1, or in a wave A, B, C, right? So we are looking for something along the lines of longs on this low at $74,000, right? You can obviously scale in, scale throughout all the way down, right? But investing in some form of triangle is always what I say, putting lower positions towards the higher prices and bigger positions towards the lower prices, right? So that is not a bad way to invest currently, because we can see here that we either have a wave A down, wave B, and then lower for wave C, or we have the C finished, and now we are looking for way higher prices. So this area here is always a good chance to invest in Bitcoin, right? Regardless of if we are going lower in the long term, we still get this massive move up, right? Probably into that $105,000 region from around the 74. That's over 25%. Or if we are then going to 140,000 and way higher, we then get double, right? Good move from both ways, investing in an area like 80,500 to $74,000. But that is the main trades on the 4-hour scenario. One risky, one a bit less risky. But guys, thank you so much. Do join the Discord down below. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Enjoy your day. It's been Max Trades Crypto. Cheers, guys.